problem C. In problem C, we have the 15th and the 16th term. We do not have the first one this time. But at least if we have two terms that are one after the other, we can figure out what our common difference D is, because how are you getting from one term to the next? Well, in this particular example, to get from one problem to the next, you are adding a -3. So your common difference is -3. The question is, how do you figure out your first term? Well, we're going to have to actually work backwards a little bit. We'll use our formula. Our a sub n equals a sub 1 plus n minus 1 times d. So what we're going to use is our two terms we do know, which is we knew what a sub 15 was, and we knew what a sub 16 was, and we're going to use those, if we can, to kind of work backwards and find out what our a sub 1 is. Now, you can pick whichever one you want. We're going to use our, doesn't matter, let's pick the 16th term. Let's use the 16th term. You could use the 15th. Let's use our 16th term as our a sub n. And the formula says that your a sub 16, which we said was given to us in the problem was 5, is still that you take your first term, which we don't know what that is, and you add the n minus 1. Well, if it was our 16th term, n minus 1 is 15. And multiply it times your common difference D. Well, our common difference D, we said, we just found it, was -3. So that means you'll do your common difference D, -13, 15 times, which is will give you a -45. So that's what you end up adding when you do your common difference of -3, 15 times to get that 16th term, which is 5. So if we treat this like we would a normal formula, how you get the A1 by itself is we're going to get rid of that -45 by doing the reverse. We'll add 45 to both sides, which will give me on the other side, on the left-hand side, a 5 plus 45 is 50. So what this does is now tells us that our first term is 50 from this sequence. And then I can find any term I want if I have the common difference, the D, which we said was -3, in the first term, which we just found out was 50. So the first thing that they wanted us to find was the 8th term, remember? So remember, the formula says to take your first term, we just found that was 50. And if we're finding the 8th term, we do the n minus 1, which is 8 minus 1 is 7, times your common difference, which is -3. So 7 times -3 is your -21. Added your first term, 50, would give you 29. So that's your 8th term. Now let's find our general formula for our nth term. Again, it's starting out with your first term, which was 50. Taking your n minus 1, again, there's nothing you can do with that. If we're leaving n's in the formula, you're going to leave the n minus 1 too. And we'll multiply it times your d, which is your common difference, which we found was -3. Again, just like before, the only thing mathematically you can do is get rid of those parentheses, which means distribute, and that will get you a -3n plus 3. Combine your like terms. Your like terms are your 50 and your plus 3, which is a positive 53. So we end up with two things. An a sub 8 equals 29, and an a sub n equals -3 and plus 53.